Welcome to the Just Josh podcast.
Who the fuck is this guy? Hey, who the fuck are you? Huh? Who the fuck are you?
This whole thing's a little weird.
Never yet fear, laddie buck.
What's going on, Greg?
Not a whole lot. Well, a lot actually. I got a shitload of stuff.
Yeah, man, you do everything.
Categories.
Yeah, you're like a producer, a musician, a manager. I mean, you pretty much do all aspects of the industry. Was that kind of something out of like a passion for music as a musician, wanting to help other people out, or have you always kind of had that producer hat?
Yes, I opened a studio back in the day, and I wouldn't say I knew what I was doing. I was kind of figuring it out. I was writing a lot of songs at the time with my engineer, and that was Mike Stevie.
Mike Stevie, yep.
Yeah, who does, he's a machine. He's like, he worked on, or together we did a lot of Ballyhoo records.
Mm-hmm.
So he was kind of manning the controls, and I would do like lyrics and melody. And I coached the vocalist kind of through the whole process and get the best performance that we could. And then that just kind of stemmed into, I had to keep the doors open of the studio. So I would just go out and get bands to work with. And then from that point, we would write these great songs, and I wanted to see them go somewhere. And like, not everybody has the team that it takes, because it takes like a whole village of people to really have a musical group be successful. And it's a constant grind. So I happen to be connected with a lot of the right people, and it just kind of happened. I just started developing bands and trying to see them go further than just my studio. And I had a lot of help, and still do. And I work with a lot less bands now because I don't have the same amount of time as I did before Cashed Out kind of got moving. But I definitely have been working with bands in between when I'm not doing stuff. And currently right now I'm working with a band called Bonsai.
Bonsai?
That are taking on the road.
Cool.
And it's been fun. They're a crazy bunch of dudes, and I'm excited to show everybody what we've been working on.
Yeah, man. I feel like everything you touch kind of turns to gold to a degree. I mean, those Ballyhoo records are some of my favorite records up until that point. And then also, again, you know, you're just such a great writer and a singer and stuff. I'm always jealous of people that can sing really well. You know, I sing in the shower and it turns off. It's like, no, dude, no singing. Was that something that you've kind of, are you weird about your own voice too? Like even me doing these podcasts, I kind of get freaked out when I'm editing it because I can hear myself. Was that something you kind of had to learn over time with your voice, or have you always just not cared?
Yeah, I never really actually liked my voice. Sorry, I'm putting my computer on something so I don't have to keep holding
No worries.
I chose a floor tom, and it's like angled, so might be at a little tilt. I have to come to my band's house. I live in a camper, and the internet there is not great. So I wanted this to be successful.
How is living in a camper? I guess we'll go off topic real quick. Is that like freeing? Because I've been thinking about doing that, no joke. Getting like a tiny home or something.
Yes. It is. I love it most of the time, and I don't care for it sometimes. Like basically, it depends on if it's clean. If you keep it clean,
Mm-hmm.
then it's nice. But you start to feel the world kind of closing in on you if you have any amount of clutter, which like kind of builds up very quickly when you're in my case, a 32-foot space.
Mm-hmm.
But I do really like it. I like where I'm at over at Orlando Band Camp, and it's it. I'm not really like supposed to live there. I'm there usually when the band is touring like it's supposed to. I'm only in there like a couple weeks at a time, if that.
Yeah.
And for that, I love it. We're right on a lake. Do a lot of fishing. I got a jet ski, so
Dope.
it's very relaxing. But being in there for what is it, 8 months now?
Yeah.
It's a little much. I just kind of crave a little bit more space.
Yeah.
But other than that, I recommend it. If you got a good situation where that's going to work for you, then definitely try it. You got nothing to lose. Worst case, you got a camper.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that being such a great tool to a degree. When you're on the road as much you are, but being that these last, however many months, 8 months, 6 months has been no touring and nothing, I can see how that can get kind of overwhelming to a degree, especially like you said, it's the space kind of a thing, or having to get out. You're used to being on the road or used to being able to kind of go everywhere. Although Florida isn't too restricted right now. Aren't you guys kind of open to a degree?
I mean, you can pretty much do what you want. You just gotta wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
There's some places you can't like dine in at.
Okay.
But pretty much, I think everyone over here is just tired of, living in fear and being in the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
and as with everybody. So I wouldn't say I mean, there's rules and people are following them. It's just,
That's good.
it's all very confusing. You go to the next city over and people act differently. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, the whole time, it's weird everywhere. But Florida did open up as far as some venues and the smaller capacities, but we have shows. I'm very, very grateful for that.
You guys have a run coming up, correct? In December?
We do. We're with
Boys?
Tropidelic and in Bonsai, like I was saying, and it's going to be popping. I assume the tickets are selling. So
yeah, it's far, but I might try and come down and catch a couple of those.
Oh, dude, that'd be great.
Be great. Hang out for a little bit. I've been trying to get down to Florida forever. It's just with COVID and everything, and hopefully next year, hopefully we can just pick up where we all left off and people can start touring again and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think eventually it'll happen. I mean, we're gradually moving towards it, and it's just got to ride it out a little bit longer. And you're either gonna keep doing what you were doing, or I mean. Really, the only thing that's changed in my life is I wear a mask when I'm going somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was already washing my hands.
Right.
And keeping my distance anyway, really.
Yeah, me too. I was like, some people are freaking out of this. And I'm like, honestly, I'm pretty used to this. I'm pretty much a homebody to a degree. I don't really drink too much, so I don't go out as often as I used to. You guys also, the reason I was excited to get you on here is because you guys also have an awesome podcast. And I love talking to other people that have podcasts or kind of do this thing because it is a little bit different. And it sucks on one hand because I know everyone and their mom has a podcast. So it's almost like cheesy. I'm almost like embarrassed to be like, oh, come check out my podcast. But you guys I'm telling you, I probably enjoy watching and listening to your podcast more than like Joe Rogan or some other people. Was that something that was natural? Was it just that you guys were like, okay, well, we have extra time on our hand. This is just another way for us to kind of get our branding, get people to kind of know us. And we have all the equipment to a degree. Might as well try and do something like that.
It was actually Howie from Ballyhoo who insisted that we make a podcast.
Smart man.
Yeah, he is. He's always been like a big brother. And you know, I've obviously worked in many facets of their operation, and so I'm always I welcome his advice, and I took it. He wanted it to be called The Secret Stash because we have a Facebook group called The Secret Stash. And we did it at first, but that ended up being taken by Jay and Silent Bob, and like you can't compete with that.
No, God damn it, Jay.
Yeah. So, but I actually love that that morphed into Van Talk with Cashed Out, because it's just better. I like that, and really it does come naturally. We're at first couple episodes, you know, we're kind of getting the feel for it, and you know, it took a few times of recording whole episodes and realizing that we didn't record them.
I've done that so many times, so you feel pain with that. And
you know, we're working on it. We're always trying to improve it. We're going to get some better cameras and stuff like that, but we're just you know, we like, my band has a lot of personality, a lot of different personalities.
Yep.
Joey is obviously the only person like him, and we always had said that he should have a podcast, but we were always afraid of what he would say, which is why we didn't ever let him on the radio. And but we can edit these, so
right,
we do, and and it's just we like to bring on people that, you know, maybe nobody's heard of, but we met and we like these people, and you know, think that other people should know about them, or and maybe there's some guests that people do know about, but we have a dynamic in our band, and I think that, you know, you don't get to see that on stage. Everybody can't be like, you know, Blink-182 and the Mark Thomas Travis show and all that stuff. You know, like, not everybody can do that. We give Joey his moment on the microphone, but other than that, it's basically you get a seat in the van, and you get to experience the dynamic between us and what makes it. My guys are very positive, and that's really what allows us to do this for so long and for so little.
Yeah. Now I see that. Is this the van right here? Is this the inside of the van, or is this a different area?
That is actually inside my camper.
Okay, so that's in the camper, and then I always see Jackson's kind of like by himself. Is he in a different state now, or is he?
No, he's in the slide out of my camper.
Oh, okay. So just to fit everyone, you kind of have to have.
Yeah, we could all cram onto that couch, but it was a lot. He kind of like runs the little station there from that's where my recording setup is. So
okay.
Yeah, a lot of people think that that's our van, and it's like, I don't know what kind of van you guys ride in, but that's a lot bigger than a van.
That's huge, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's I pretty much dedicated my camper to recording, and now the podcast, and it's been cool, because like, other than doing the podcast and recording songs, all I do is sleep. So
I feel you.
Sleep and fish.
I feel you.
So what you don't see is like my fishing poles in my bed. Yeah, but there's just enough space in there, and it's very cool to do in there. I think it was a cool part of it. Yeah,
dude, that's very nice, very clean, very cool. I definitely might look down that. Yeah, I definitely might look down that avenue of getting something that's a little bit more mobile and smaller, because Right now is great. I have a great setup, plenty of space. If bands come through town and they don't want to spend money on a hotel, I have 5 bedrooms, so everyone can get their own room if they want. Plenty for crew. But yeah, it sucks though sometimes because then I'm paying money, especially if I'm out on tour or doing other things, and I don't, I have a place to come back to, but then it's like I'm paying all this money. The reason I bring up the podcast is I've been wanting to do segments with people, and I don't know if you'd be down for this, but there is a let me find it. So Jimmy Fallon did the segment, and it's called "Stick It In There." So you guys have a podcast, I have a podcast, so I thought it'd be funny if we kind of make a little bit of a contest. And what Stick It In basically is you give the person a phrase, and they have to try and incorporate that phrase into a conversation, but act completely natural or like they mean it. So here's some examples. They just did an NFL one, and Jimmy Fallon gave them like phrases to say. So whenever the people would ask them questions after the game, they'd have to say the phrase within their answer. Okay. So we'll watch this and then we'll.
Dalvin, you were named NFC Offensive Player of the Week today. How do you feel about that?
Great. Give all the credit to the O-line up front, receivers, tight end, just going out there and just working hard. And I run yards like switch hard. So that's what it is.
What is your favorite part about being a receiver? Is it catching touchdown passes? Is it your dance celebrations?
I believe catching the touchdown passes because they're like Pokemon to me. I gotta have them all.
What makes that connection with you guys on that particular throw so difficult for anybody to defend?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a saying my mom used to say.
Rob just fucks it all up.
Because butter don't drizzle like that.
Ryan, do you stick with the finger roll celebration or do you change it up?
I think I got to stick with it. I think through the whole process, I learned that's why you call them touchdowns and not touch-ups.
But again, I mean, myself, I'm looking forward to it. Again, call me old-fashioned. Like literally, like I mean it. Call me old-fashioned. That's my new nickname.
I mean, on the team right now, they call me old-fashioned. I mean it. That's my new nickname, old-fashioned.
Maybe even I bring that up and put that in his ear a little bit. Sometimes you gotta throw the sauce in your boss.
Well, it's there's not a week that goes by where Coach Reed isn't gonna get on you, man. That's his job. Sometimes you just gotta be like, take it easy, roller coaster tycoon. You know what I mean?
What your mom said is a quote that I am not familiar with. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
Syrup drizzles. You got to make that play. And a stick of butter, it's a block. You got to put it in the microwave to melt it. That just takes too long. You got to make that play right away, baby. And that's why, that's why I'm like the maple syrup. That's why she used to always say that, because I'm quick with it. I just drizzle all over the place.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, he fucked that one up, and it was hilarious. He's like, yeah, I drizzle all over the place. So I was wondering if it's possible, if you remember, but I think it would be funny if during one of your van podcasts that you this is my quote for you, and then if you want to come up with one and give it to me, and then the next time I have a guest on, I'm going to try and incorporate it into what I'm saying. But the one I had for you was, just because a cat has her kittens in the oven doesn't make them biscuits. Do you think you could incorporate that somehow?
Into what?
Into just a regular conversation.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I do is words,
True.
But what I think remembering the phrase, what was it about biscuits?
I'll write it down and text it to you later. But if we can pull this off and somehow get me to say a catchphrase from you to a guest, and you say a catchphrase from me, but act dead serious, like pretend like you meant to say it, not like you're saying a phrase we already thought of.
Sure.
Since we're kind of on the topic with Joey, to a degree, I was thinking, unfortunately, Alex Trebek passed away recently. You watched Jeopardy growing up and still sometimes?
Yeah. It was kind of like an in passing thing, but it's always there.
Yep. And he's been there for so long. I mean, I remember him since I was younger. But one of the questions and some of the topics that people are starting to come, I think it's a little soon, but some people were like, well, who's going to be the next host? Which is understandable because, it's been there for so long. So anytime you have a changing of the guard, it's kind of a question that'll come up. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, if there's one person in the world that would be perfect for Jeopardy, it would be Joey.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. They're the executives and everyone at Jeopardy, they're going to try and make him cut his hair, wear a suit and do all that stuff. No, I literally want him unshaven, mullet as much as possible. If he can cut one into there and get it just long, but
he would do it in braids and a kimono.
Yeah.
Real situation.
Yeah. Whatever the getup is, it's got to be untraditional, but him looking like that, but then he needs to be dead serious. You know what I mean? Like, don't be goofy, Joey, just be dead serious, but look funny. Oh my God. I would die. I tried to Photoshop a photo of him in a suit with the Jeopardy thing behind him. But I'm not a good producer, so I was gonna grow my hair out this whole COVID. So 8 months, I would have had a nice little shag going on. It wouldn't have been like as long as yours, but I could have gotten it like down to here, and then I cut it. It's just too hard. Once you get to that mushroom stage, it's like so hard to get out of that mushroom stage.
Growing, I think it's probably because I don't brush it as much. But it used to be like super, super long when we started the band. And I have not seen it that long since. It just won't get there. I don't know if I was using a different shampoo back in the day or what. But it was a lot healthier than it is now. Now I think it's just like, dude, what the fuck? Brush me or cut me off.
Yeah. Before we got on the thing, I got a tattoo today. Do you have any tattoos?
I do have a lot.
Do you know your count or no?
It's pretty, I could count. They're all on one arm. So, I don't know.
I had a Serenation on the other day, and I counted my tattoos for that. So I have 27 tattoos now.
Wow.
But I had just gotten my the underarm done. I'm just trying to finish up this sleeve on this side. I know you can't really see it on there, but then here on the
I've seen it before.
Okay, yeah. I got the turtle, and now I'm trying to add the pyramids and the jungle and stuff to it, kind of get that whole scene going. But this is one I just got today. It's my right-hand man, and I got a little stick figure man on my hand. Anytime anyone asks me any questions, I'll be like, hold on, let me ask my right-hand man.
You good?
Instead of doing just a regular man, though, I had to, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I definitely like researching and looking up different like ancient civilizations and aliens and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I turned it from just being a regular stick figure into like an alien stick figure. So, yeah.
Clever.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like it's one of those things I thought was funny enough that I wouldn't regret it eventually. But we'll see. We'll see how good it looks in a couple of days when it heals.
Is that like one of the? Is it the lip tattoo that like will go away or something, or just
right?
Weird?
Yeah, just like your knuckles or your elbows or like your hands. The reason most people do it on the top.
This shit hurt.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, dude, the elbow is the worst.
And then I have a tour bus.
Look at that.
A little bit of reality right here.
Well, that's what you're gonna be at. You're gonna be at that bus stage soon.
Yeah, you know, I know all about the bus stuff, and I want that. I really do. It's hard to justify that money when, when you know our band has basically put all the money back into the band. So it's like, do we want to get paid? Or do we want to have a bus? And it's tough, you know. And it probably won't happen for quite some time.
Yeah.
But I'll make it happen. I kind of don't have the same. I used to like be obsessed with the bus thing, and I really want it when I'm on tour for like a few months in the van.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm like bus for sure. But since living in a camper, I kind of have that. It's kind of like a bus.
Yeah.
Got to get that out of my system.
Yeah, I don't think people realize, especially fans sometimes, how hard it is. How hard. I mean, I know they know in the back of their head, they're like, oh, I know the music industry's hard, but I don't think people really 100% see how difficult it is because they're there, for the 2-3 hours or whatever, and they see the show, but then they don't see everything that goes beyond, goes on behind the scenes, how bands are set up. Because every band's different. Sometimes you have a couple people in charge, and then you have touring musicians, or you might have a full band. It just depends. And then again, it comes down to finances. I was never naive to the business, and then even then getting to work in it as well, and seeing that side, and getting being the first one in, last one out, and doing all that stuff, and then just how hard it is being on the road in general too. It's you have to be mentally strong to want to do this for sure.
It definitely takes whatever you got in you, it's gonna suck you dry.
Yeah.
And that could be, both your energy and your bank account.
Yep.
And you just have to be committed to it. I kind of committed to the life really early on.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been nice with cashed out for things to be, working. I kind of feel like that all that shit I did before was, worth something and validating. But it, you gotta really want it, and when it doesn't work, you gotta figure out why and want to figure out why and do that, whatever it is. And it's not easy, especially when you got like 8 dudes in a stinky van.
Yep. Yeah, I was very lucky as far as tour goes with Ballyhoo. They've always taken great care of their crews, and it's a great learning experience getting to. I did it because I love the guys. I mean, like you said, I could never explain on air how much Howie's done for me behind the scenes, personally, just as a friend. I think he's even helped me out more than as a boss. But yeah, it's definitely difficult, and I hope people would out there kind of understand that, understand how hard, because I wasn't naive to the business, but maybe I was a little bit naive to the fans, or maybe just like how expensive things are. Like when I actually saw the merch, I'm always thinking, like, as a merch guy, you always get the people that ask for discounts, or they do whatever the case is. But and even I, before as a fan, buying the merch, and I always tipped, and I always did everything well, but then getting behind the scenes and then seeing the cost as opposed to that, people thinking you're making $25 a shirt, and you're not. You're making like maybe, depending on the item, less than $10. And then you also have to pay out your manager, you have to pay out your crew, you have to pay out your agent. There's so many things that go into it that people don't realize, I think.
The shirt design itself, you have to pay for.
That's expensive too.
They even write down to the bins that the merch is stored in,
mm-hmm.
and the trailer that stores the bins. And it also has to hold all the gear, and then all the gear that it takes to run a show is, and we are very self-contained as a band. A lot of times we run the whole show off of our gear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because we've shown up to venues before, and it was not, we didn't have enough channels or something, so we,
mm-hmm.
There's just a lot that is involved. I mean, even right now, I got rehearsals. We've been rehearsing past couple of days. Now we have our sound guy. Everything's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
We have, there's a lot to like dial in. When people get new gear, you got to dial in tone. Nobody sees all that stuff happening. Nobody sees that preparation. And even, planning an album release, you got to do that months in advance, if not more. And has to be coordinated with the label and what they're releasing and putting out and all that stuff. It's just there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, there really is. And now you said you've kind of only been around for a little bit, but you have had a lot of success, and I'd like to attribute that to your hard work and that you have that, you were just talking about kind of having that mindset. 2017, was that when the hookup came out? About 2017 or so?
Maybe. I want to say,
well,
we started in 2014.
Okay.
Some maybe, somewhere around there. I can't remember, to be honest.
But even there, that came out on Law Records, Pepper's label, and having kind of that success so early in the sense of networking and meeting the right people, and then you've also become, I think, a big reason why Law Records is this big, because you have sent a couple bands, or you have been working with some of the bands that end up getting signed. Do you feel like, if you're working with a good band, will you toss it over to your side and just be like, hey, I got this great band, you should check them out? Is that something that you kind of always look at?
Yes and no. I try to be very careful about how often I do that and with whom. And I've gotten a lot of offer. I mean, people have offered to pay me to do that, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be. That's not how we're gonna put music out into this world. Mm-hmm. Just because I was paid to do it, even if assuming that Law would accept it and love it enough to put it out into the world. But I definitely will be like, hey, let's make some music that's undeniable. And sometimes I'll be like, let's make them come to us, come in with a warm hand, sure. But, I'm not like a gateway to the label or anything. Anybody can hit them up.
Right.
They're very approachable. But I definitely have 66 songs on the label, I think. And I'm going for 100. I'll have 100 soon.
Nice.
And they have that is really just because they've been so supportive and so good as an indie label, and I have no reason to go somewhere else. I have everything that I want out of the label with Law Records, and they continue to just show us love and support. And I've been very grateful that they've even signed the bands that that I write with, and it's not always me pitching them to them. Like with Vana Liya, they found her first, and they just were like, "Can you write songs with her?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So they kind of brought her to me, which was awesome. And look at her now. I mean, she's definitely getting out there and doing her thing, and it's cool to see. And just with the cashed out records that we've put out, I'm very, very, very happy with the label. I pitch if it feels right. There's a window, there's a way to pitch. You don't want to just keep shoving stuff down the throat. I want it to mean something when I do take the time to pitch a band, because obviously it's cool to be like, hey, it worked.
Right. And I think you said it the best is I see a lot of bands and that will hit me up and say, hey, we're looking for management, we're interested, blah, blah. Who do you manage, or can we open for this band or that band? And in my head, I'm thinking, if they ask me that straight off the bat, then they're probably not a band I really want to work with, because I think there's a bigger picture to all this. It's not just about who you're opening for. It's not just about all those things, but it's all about the preparation and the time put in. And like you said, make them come to you. Don't ride other people's coattails and try and, get it that way, if you make a product that's undeniable that people will enjoy, you know, it wouldn't matter. We don't need to reach out to people because we're focusing on ourselves. And I think that's something that's really important that maybe bands don't take, you know, enough time to think about. So that's really, it's really cool that you kind of see that same kind of a process.
I come from a place of the Warped Tour hustle really is what drives. You know, I worked with Ballyhoo on this after we made a couple albums. Or the first one was Daydreams, and I knew that like people needed to hear it. And I also knew that the band wasn't necessary. They needed to be a band, not go out and hustle their CD. And they did get out and hustle with me. Don't get me wrong, but they were going to be the band, and they have a crew. And I knew that just any merch guy wasn't going to be able to go and really move this CD and have a vested interest in this album. So I went, and it's a lot like this. I kind of attributed to this. So like selling CDs in a time where everybody's consuming music via YouTube is very hard. It's also very hard to sell reggae to kids who are predominantly there for hardcore music and punk rock, and Ballyhoo obviously has elements of that. That's how they were able to get on the tour, and it's there. But like the album that we had at the time was or at least the single was pretty reggae. But there's actually a lot of rockin' songs on that album.
Daydreams is great.
Yeah, I love that album. But it wasn't. We quickly figured out on the tour that if we were holding signs that said, we started selling sunglasses, and then we put on the sign. We had a sign that said, "Don't get caught looking at boobies." Sales were up, and then so the band would get out there and sell the sunglasses, and I would go around hustling the CDs, and they were able to, you know, really push themselves through that tour because of that. And what I'm getting at is that you want to get out there, and nobody would have known we had sunglasses. Right. It's a product that they need, that they want, they're looking for. And I would give some and be like, I remember I said something about squinting, you know, or like you can't, squinting causes headaches or something like that. But you're just like raising, you know, just holding, you got to hold up your sign. You got to show people that you're there with something that they need. And that same thing goes for being in a band to a label or management or agent. They want to know that you're going to go and raise awareness the whole time. And not because if you lose steam, they're going to lose steam, and everybody's going to lose steam. So, you know, if you're pushing the sunglasses, you know, it's when it's bright and sunny in the summer and people are squinting, it's hot, and you have exactly what they need. You got to let them know, and you got to let the world know. And I think that the reason why Cashed Out has gotten as far as we have so fast is because we're constantly like, we took the Warped Tour hustle to the Cali Roots and all the reggae festivals, and you know, we're the ones out there with the sign, and we're hustling CDs, and I think that that's the kind of shit that people running labels and management firms and stuff want to see, because if you're not selling it, then how are they supposed to?
Right.
And
Exactly.
It was more than just sending an email and saying, "Hey, you should put this out."
Right.
You know, like, nah, hey, here's that band that you keep hearing about.
Right.
You Let's keep making noise, and they're doing stuff. And I think just staying active. I think your team will find you if if you are what they're looking for, and you got to know who you want your team to be and what it is that they're looking for. And for me, I knew because Law Records put out Daydreams, I was like, okay, well, obviously this label will release a song that I've written. That's the way I saw it. I was like, so I want to be on that label because I got plenty more songs that they haven't even heard. Now I need to package it and show them.
No, that's such great advice, man. And it's funny. I'm glad that you kind of said this on the podcast, because I think as a manager too, if I talk to some of my bands, especially if they're very raw or new or haven't been in the business, I can say that to them all day, but they're never going to listen to me. You know what I mean? Or they're not going to take it the same way as hearing it from maybe a peer or someone else sometimes. And that's such a great thing to say. Again, I'm all about doing your own hustle, not depending on other people. So like, when people ask me like, who do you manage? It shouldn't be who I'm managing. It's what do I have to offer as a manager that fits into what you're trying to do. So instead of asking me like, who do you manage or can we open for this band? It should be, what do you think of our music, or what do you have to offer that can help us kind of get to that next level?
I think everybody's looking for a shortcut.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I'm looking for shortcuts. I'm looking for windows of opportunity.
Right.
But we're all, essentially everybody kind of has the end goal of making it, whatever that means to them. But it's kind of like the same thing, to be successful in the industry. And you can go down, there's a path, and some people know the directions already. And then they go and you hitchhike along the way, and you're not going to get some people get a ride the whole way.
Right.
Some people get a few blocks and then they have to hitchhike again. Some people walk the whole path. And that's just a matter of who you meet. And I think that's where that question probably comes from, is like, oh, who do you manage? And that's somebody looking to hitchhike a little bit. And it can be done. And sometimes as a manager, that's what people have to offer is, oh, I manage this. And so I have a lot of control over this artist's career.
Mm-hmm.
So I could make that decision. Yeah, it'd be easy. But you're right in the sense of like, what, it shouldn't be about the other artists and looking for a shortcut. It should be like, what are you building with your brand? How are you building your brand?
Yeah, and I want the artist to kind of get in that mindset of, I don't want to open for that band. I want to be the band that other bands are asking to open for. That kind of mentality. Yeah, but the whole point, I guess, of that question to begin with the Law Records is that, you guys you just put out another album recently. Was it this year? Earlier this year, The Undercover?
It was a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah.
But already in such a quote unquote short period of time when in the industry, you guys have gotten to do a lot of stuff. And again, I want to attribute that back to your hard work and having that mindset and having a healthy mindset too.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride for sure. We did our first tour with Pepper and Less Than Jake, and that was because we were doing well with our live show, but we also had we were out there hustling tickets on the streets of Gainesville, and we live in Orlando. That's 2 hours south of Gainesville. So we were out there just selling tickets on the street because we knew that that's what the promoters wanted to see. And it turns out Less Than Jake really liked that too. And so they brought us on the road, and it just happened to be that they were co-headlining with Pepper, who had just happened to offer us a record deal. So it was just kind of this
crazy,
this full circle thing. And then our last tour that we just did was also with Pepper. Obviously, those were years apart, but we went from opening with Pepper to being direct support, which means you play right before the headliner, and just taking all that in is has been pretty rad, and it's been a lot of hard work. And I think, what do they say? What's it like? Game respects game or recognizes game or something like that.
Right. Yeah, game recognized game.
Yeah, if you are hustling, you know what it takes, and you know what you're looking for, and like, oh, I could tell this guy has been doing this type of work for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I recommend that you just don't stop.
All these bands want to open or tour or do other things with these bigger bands. You know how you catch their eye? You be a pro. Be a pro. Come in when you're supposed to come in. Be quick. Be polite. Stay out of their way. Say hi when it's necessary. But you
get off the stage. Get out of their way.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, bring people to the show.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes it's not even the band that decides the opener for the show. It's the promoter.
Right.
The talent buyer. And they want to see. They don't care if you're going to get buddy with the band. They care about moving tickets.
Right.
And that's what we got at. We were like, all right, give me those tickets. I'm going to go move them myself. And, hand deliver you the pre-sales. We don't do that anymore. Not because we wouldn't or are above it. But we just got to a point where now we can headline our own shows and put the tickets up for sale online, and they will move. But to a band who's trying to open shows, that's exactly what you have to do. I just gave you the whole recipe right there.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you're listening, take it from someone who's been there and worked his ass off. Honestly. A couple more things, and then I'll let you get out of here. I don't like to keep people too long, but you've had some good connections with other companies as well. So Customized Grinder, and I know you have In-Earz as well. I wanted to give you some time to talk about In-Earz because we've talked about it a few times, and the only reason I haven't pulled the trigger is that until I'm at that point where I can actually use them as much. Like these aren't even molded and probably are no better than my Apple Beats or whatever. But I just can't always be wearing those headphones. It's just too annoying. So I bought these, and they were super cheap. But Ballyhoo uses them. I know a lot of the other bands use them. What kind of separates In-Earz, and why should a band get?
I wish I had. Mine are at rehearsal right now. I'm looking around.
I have a picture of yours up here on the screen. If you catch that one.
So that little, you see that little silver thing that's at the bottom?
Yeah. That's
called an ADEL module, and it stands for Ambrose Diaphonic Ear Lens. And that's what Ballyhoo is using. And they were the first band I sold them to because I knew they were using In-Earz. They were about to buy some new ones, and I found out that these are the safest. And that the reason, so basically, on you got a drum set, right?
Mm-hmm.
On your kick drum, where it's ported, or even on your snare drum, it probably has a little port in it. Yeah, see? That is for the pressure to release, that wind comes out of that when you hit that drum.
Right.
The same type of thing happens when a speaker produces sound. It has pneumatic pressure inside of it. And you're sealing that in your ear canal whenever you use an earbud or what you've got in your ears right now. And there's nowhere for that pressure to go except for your eardrum. And what happens is we're not meant to hear with things sticking inside of our ears. We're meant to hear just from out here.
Mm-hmm.
And your body has this thing called a stapedius reflex, and that that is your natural volume control. So you stick something in your ear, you turn it up because you want the bass. Your body thinks a bomb is going off, so it turns you down. It turns the volume down and tightens up your eardrum and stuff. So like it's trying to protect you, and then you're like, oh, it's not loud enough, so let me crank it up, and you turn it up more, and your body is fighting that sound and that pressure. So what we do is we port it like the kick drum, except if you just put a hole in there, it would you'd lose all your low end, and it would probably sound like crap. So we have this membrane on the other side of that module that you can't see in the photo, but and that membrane absorbs the pressure, so your eardrum doesn't have to, and your eardrum can actually relax. And the idea is to not trigger the stapedius reflex. So if you type in like In-Earz ADEL, you'll see.
Was it Adele?
Yeah, ADEL technology. It's probably here on the website. Go to
Adele. Here
there
it
you
is.
go. Yeah.
What?
Oh,
Here's Pro.
we've been redoing the website, so it's probably. If you go to, and then you can go down to actually go up to accessories, and you'll see probably the different ADEL modules. Yeah, ADEL modules right there.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
You can actually swap them out and have different amounts of bass, and those orange ones are actually a plug. So if you decide, you know what, I don't like the way that sounds, you can plug them up and be right back to where you started with the full seal. So we are the only company, In-Earz Audio is the only company that has the ADEL, and there are not many, but some rip-offs that don't do the same thing, and they kind of claim to, but it's impossible because we have a patent. So that's why it makes it the safest thing. I actually had an ear injury, and that's what led me to the company. And then I decided I needed to tell all my peers about this one little tiny module that is going to preserve your hearing, because you can lose your hearing very quickly, and it doesn't come back all the time.
Well, shoot, dude. I'm so glad that you talked about it because you definitely sold me on it. So I will definitely try and grab a pair through you.
We have a model that's great for podcasts as well.
That's cool.
So it's ask Howie how he likes his. I think he's got the ones that I'm talking about. And again, it's really just about protecting your hearing. It allows you to listen at a lower, safer volume, and it's still like presumed to be loud.
Right.
And that's my side hustle. I sell in-ear monitors to protect the ears of my peers.
That's awesome, dude. That's really cool. That's so much information I didn't know. And then you guys have some of the best merch. I got my
I see you repping, dude. That's nice.
have to. But Customized Grinder does a great job. You guys have some awesome like grinders and other accessories, stickers. They do so much stuff, Shane. And he's such a great guy. Every time we're out in California, he always takes care of us.
Shane and Dina have always been really, really good to us. We love that company. And I don't think we'll probably use another grinder company. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's nice enough. Like I have the management company, and I have no need for any of that stuff. But he's made me stickers and stuff like that. Even made a couple personal grinders for me and whatnot.
Yeah, they like to send you out some and see if you like it. They kind of this is a show me business, and that's their way of showing you what they can do. And if you want to order more, then you do that. And we do. We continue to order them because people keep buying them because they're good grinders.
I was actually talking, dude, the quality is actually really good, and he does everything in-house as far as the graphics and all that. It's not just like one of those crappy, stickers or, quick laminate jobs. It's like legit ink. It stays on there. Like someone could even like 3D to a degree.
Yeah, there's a Always Vibe in design that I think he made, and then we put on a hat, ended up like using the design that he did. He makes us look cool.
Yeah, I forgot he does his own kind of graph. Sorry, I was trying to pull up the whatchamacallit, the grinders, but that's okay. So then also you got a little mini me as well. You're a father on the road. Is that different? Is that hard?
Yeah, very hard. Probably the hardest job that I have because I don't devote as much time as is required. You know, I give what I can when I can, and I'm very, very, very busy. Not that he's not, you know, equally as important, because he's the most important thing in my life. But he lives with his mom because he is better off that way. You know, I'm always gone. It's been that way since he was born. So he's kind of used to it. He takes it in stride. But it's now he's older and he's starting to understand a lot more, and that's good and bad for me.
Yeah.
But he is awesome. He just turned 9. His name is Landon, and I love him to death. He's just super smart. He's smarter than me. He's really into Minecraft. He actually he came over the other day and made in like 15 minutes, whipped up an exact replica of my camper in Minecraft.
Jesus.
And then when he finished with that, he went on to I have it parked on a 10-acre compound, and he started to build the house and the lake, and it's like dead on. It's like if we were in Minecraft, it's exactly what it would be. I mean, he had my couch, my slide out, my desk, and everything, and he just whipped it up right in front of me. I couldn't believe it.
Kids are so smart. I miss having that kind of just, you know, the open, like, what's it called? Just like enthusiasm. I know it's a different word for it, but like the want to do something, you know, without feeling like you're being forced to do it.
Yeah, that's part of childhood. I try to encourage him to embrace, because you know, I do things a lot out of necessity and not out of you know, can't just wake up and be like, well, I guess I kind of do.
Well, I definitely know that all the sacrifice that you're making right now, and again, it's not that he's not the most important thing in your life. It's that if you want to give him everything that you can give him at this moment, you have to be working. You have to constantly be grinding.
Yeah. Well, really showing him, it's important to me to show him that, like, hey, I started something years ago before you were born, and I'm going to finish it. And this is everything that it takes. And if you want to do this, you're welcome to. I'll show you the way, but you don't have to do this. And maybe I'm showing you the reasons why you don't want to do it. But this is something that I've been building, and I'm gonna see it through. And I think that he respects that. He likes to see it grow. He was out there on Warped Tour with me selling Ballyhoo CDs, and he had said he's really good at selling merch. He was like, Daddy, we have to get him this CD. They just don't know that they want it. And I was like, you got it, dude. You hit it right on the head, dude. Let's go. And he would do this thing where I'd be holding him, and the end of my pitch, I'd be like, and it makes a great fan. And then he would start fanning us together, and it would sell it every time.
Oh man, yeah, I bet you that's almost like cheating, having your kid with you selling those.
It was, but hey, it didn't matter because those CDs needed to move. So, and he was about it. He really likes sales. He's motivated by money. I think mostly because I'm like, I gotta go. This is how Daddy makes money. I gotta go to the studio, or I gotta go on tour. And he's very, very motivated. He's gonna take over the world. He knows all about the space program and who went up into space and what rocket.
That's awesome.
Man, he's like a sponge, and he's soaked up way more than I ever have.
Yeah, I had this article up before about the SpaceX stuff. I won't get too much into it, but that's just funny that you brought that up. Last thing before I let you go here. So, just being in the scene and stuff in general, but I remember seeing, I think it was Howie's podcast, that you had mentioned that Maryland has some really good weed. And I'm here to tell you, I agree 100%. I was surprised.
Yeah. Maryland's got some things. I forget the name of the dispensary that it comes from when it gets to us.
Curio, maybe?
No,
Yeah.
that doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah.
But it's very impressive. When you like pull out a nug and you're like, I just want to look at it. And put it under the light and just stare at it. I don't even want to pull it apart and smoke it. That happens every time I get weed in Maryland.
Yeah, when I got my
Or it's catching on, but not. It's still,
right. There's still. I've been. We've been on tour, so I've tried weed from all over, and obviously Cali and Colorado are good, but Washington has some of the best weed I think in the country too. Just I don't know if it's the grow or Oregon. Like Washington, Oregon. But then when I got my medical in Maryland, I got that first one, and I was just like, holy shit! Like I had no clue it was this nice, and it's more expensive than other places, which sucks, but it's worth it to me. You know what I mean? And knowing that it's safe and it's good weed.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been just thoroughly impressed. You just wouldn't expect it out of Maryland.
Yeah, it's like such a random state to have good weed.
Yeah, but I mean it's plain. So I'm not mad about it. I'm happy to see that more states have gotten cool about it, and we just need that to keep spreading. Florida is actually, surprisingly, we have dispensaries here, and that is amazing. That's an amazing progression, and it's about time that people are just not. That's really the only that and like sharks and snakes. Those are my only fears.
Yeah,
pop for weed.
Yep.
Sharks and snakes. And I can't really do much about the sharks and snakes except for don't go in the places that they are.
Right. Yeah.
Time to figure out. I do the same thing with cops.
Don't go where they're at. Yep.
Yeah, don't go where they hang out at the times that they hang out there. And but I shouldn't be really afraid of that.
Yeah, we shouldn't. It's sad. It's sad that is kind of an issue too on a whole different level for a whole nother time. Well, yeah, dude, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast. I hope you had fun, and
thanks for having me.
Hopefully we'll be able to do it soon. And anytime you guys are, even if you're just passing through, want to take showers, do some laundry, whatever. Plenty of space for you, and I look forward to seeing you live soon.
Hell yeah. I hope you can make it down to the Florida shows.
Yes, I will try. I'm not lying.
If not, we'll definitely come through there. Actually, you should link with, Joey is going to be there for the holidays in Maryland. So maybe you should link up.
Do you think he'd want to come in and hang out and smoke and
I'm
check
sure
out the studio?
We'd love that. I'm not going to volunteer him. I know he's like very big on hanging with his family, but I think he would just love that.
I'm going to have to hit him
up.
He'll
make some time. I'm sure he'll make some time.
He
would love it. Now, listen, your podcast, whatever he says.
This is not a reflection of Cashed Out as a whole.
It might be until it isn't, but
yeah.
Maybe just buy me before you air it.
Well, what's funny is the reason I edit it too. Well, one, I don't have a producer that can help me do it live. So just like you said, I've had situations where I thought I was recording and I wasn't. I've lost probably about 15 episodes that have never aired just because of that or other issues. So I like to edit too. And it gives me like a nice week to edit it and kind of get it fine tuned. But Joey and like Adam from Article Sound System, I feel like those are the two type of people you just press record and let them go. Like I don't even have to host really,
Yeah, Joey, especially with Joey getting like a lot of podcast time in with us. We do it every week. And he can run the whole show. It's really Joey's show.
Yeah.
but we all are, we contribute our personalities to it. But it's really, we're just dancing around, firing Joey up. Basically.
Yeah. You're like the hype man.
Yeah, just kind of figure out what he's gonna say. So yeah, have him on. I highly recommend it. Do it at your own risk.
I definitely will, man. And I didn't want to bring this up before because it wasn't really a topic to talk about, but I did see that your mom passed this year. So I just wanted to send my condolences and wish you the best, man. And hopefully I'll see you in December. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah. I love my mama. She's a sweetheart, and I miss her very much. And she's the reason I'm here. So I'm gonna keep doing what I was set out to do.
Hell yeah, dude. She's definitely looking down, watching you work your ass off, and I think hopefully you can find some comfort in that.
For sure. I get little things throughout my day that let me know she's around. So, but thanks for having me, and love to do it again. And let me know if you're coming down to Florida. We got you.
Hell yeah. I definitely will. I think I definitely am going to try and make that December run, at least a couple of the shows if I can come down for a couple of days. I'm very lucky that a lot of the tours I've done for Ballyhoo, we've just had great bands like you, Tropodelic, Bumpin', Article, Fayuka, very pro, very just great people, great bands. So I'm very lucky.
Absolutely. We got a good little bunch.
Hell yeah. All right, man. Take it easy. Have a great rest of the day. And thank you again so much for coming on.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.